vlog video for you today. This time it's going to be looking at a training camp that I'm going on down in Birmingham. So the camp is 5 days long. It's Monday through to Friday. I wish I could do the full camp, but obviously with work and family commitments and whatnot, it's a little bit tricky. Also, I don't think my knees would take it either. It's going to be a full day today. I've got a normal day back in work tomorrow, and then I'm going to come back down again on Wednesday and finish off on the Wednesday. I've done that a few times before, and like I say, genuinely, I'm getting towards my mid-40s now, so I think, you know, sort of doing 2 or 3 days, 2 or 3 full days consecutively is probably a little bit too much for me. And I do have to be a little bit careful of my right knee, because I've got like an old footballing injury, and my right knee can get a little bit sore from time to time. So really looking forward to it. It's at Nishkam High School, and it's run by a chap called Ed Lynn. And Ed's a lovely guy. I've known him for a few years now. I first went on a training camp with him in about 2017, I think it was, when he used to do it at Wood Green Academy. There's another chap called Ellie Baratti as well. Ellie is very well known in the table tennis world. He's sort of based down in London now, but Ellie used to go on the camps with him. So I've met some really good coaches actually. So the training camp itself, the format is it's quite nice. Well, I think it's a good balance actually. It's nice and relaxed, but it's also it has its intensive elements as well. So it obviously depends, because every day is going to be different. So I don't know for definite what we're going to be working on the 2 days that I'm going to be there. What you tend to find, for those of you who haven't been on a training camp before, it's from 10 AM through till 4 PM. We normally have a couple of rest breaks, and then we'll get some lunch for an hour or maybe 45 minutes. It'll normally start off with a bit of a warm-up, so we'll do some running, do some stretching, just getting yourself loose. Then more often than not, they'll do like a top table, which is basically you just jump on a table. You'll have one of the tables will be allocated as the top table, another table will be allocated as the bottom table, and you play against other people, and you basically work your way up or down. So if you win, then you'll move up a table. If you lose, you move down a table. And we'll do that for probably about 15 minutes, and that kind of allows the coaches to see the rough level that you're playing at, and then they can group everybody together based on their ability. So you'll generally have like a top group where they'll do, obviously, probably slightly more advanced exercises. You'll have like a middle or a couple of middle groups, and then you'll have a lower group, which is generally beginners, people who haven't been playing for very long, and they can work on consistency and some other drills. So that'll be the start of it, and then after that we'll just basically do drills. So they'll explain a certain type of drill and what we're trying to get out of it, and then we'll be allocated a training partner, and we'll do that, and we'll probably do that for 15, 20, 25 minutes, something like that. Move on to the next drill, then we'll have a bit of a break, and then that's normally the format for the morning session up until lunch. Then in the afternoon, the afternoons tend to sort of get a little bit more relaxed, and there's more fun stuff. So we'll probably do like a few more drills, and then they'll start to introduce probably like a little bit more match play, which can be almost like a top table format, but you've got to use something from the drill. So it may well be that you've had to serve short, push deep, open up, and you have to start the games that way. So that can be a really good way of getting what you've been doing in the drills into your match play. So should be a really good day. I'm looking forward to it. This vlog is I'm going to film both today and Wednesday. I'll kind of condense it down as much as I can, and I'll show you all the best bits of the day, and I'll do a bit of a review at the end, and hopefully I'm going to learn quite a lot from it. So let's get stuck in.
am Sam Wilson. I know quite a few of you, but for the ones I don't. I am here with Ed every Tuesday helping run the advanced session. I've been coaching for about a year and a half now full time. And before that I was number 1 under 21 in England, played professionally for 5 years, something like that, lived in Sweden. Just got back from Denmark. I was coaching for a month out there at a camp, which was awesome. So hopefully I can bring my knowledge into here with you guys.
Hi, I'm Mustapha. Few of you already know me, and I've been coaching from last 2 years. I played for the Indian national team for 2 years, and yeah, I've been coaching 6 days a week almost with Ed.
Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes. And with Sam as well on Tuesday.
Lee McHugh. My name's Lee. I'm based in Essex. I coach full-time in Essex, and I've been coaching for the last 5 years. I've been here a number of times on camps, so some of you I know.
My name's Toby. I'm number 2 in England's under-21s. I've been playing for 10 years, and next season I'm playing professionally in France.
Really good, really good. Guys, just obviously, I always say this at the camps. If you've got any questions at any point, don't be shy, especially the younger ones who don't like talking too much sometimes. Make sure you come up to us if there's anything you want to learn whilst you're here. Be vocal. You know, really try and get as much out of this as you can. Right, quick warm up, Toby.
Get back to your tables. We'll start with backhand, middle, backhand, forehand. As this player plays the forehand, then the other side starts backhand, middle, backhand, forehand. Does that make sense? Let me do a quick demo. I'll have worry about it. We've got more. We'll just do it like 2 on that. I'll start backhand. Okay, I'll start first. Backhand, forehand, forehand, then middle, backhand, 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 forehand, backhand, forehand, backhand.
So I think other than consistency, one of the most important elements of this exercise is the footwork. Obviously staying on your toes, staying nice and light on your feet, and then getting yourself in position quickly to play the shot correctly. I often think that being the controller or the blocker in these exercises is really, really important as well. And it's always important to think that even though you're not doing the main part of the exercise, it's still really, really good practice for trying to keep the ball on the table, especially if you're practicing against somebody who spins the ball really well. It's just good exercise, just generally to try and keep the ball on the table and to try and experiment with your blocking, whether you do like a passive block or a slightly more active block. So this was a really interesting and really, really important part of the day actually. Sam was watching me completing the exercise and he just noticed that even though I had kind of good arm speed, good acceleration into the ball, but my hand speed just wasn't quite matching up to my arm speed. So he was saying to me that using the wrist is like an important speed generator, and I could get a lot more out of my forehand just purely from using my wrist a little bit more. So here Sam is also demonstrating that the hand speed is really important for the backhand as well as the forehand, and in fact that quick sort of snap of acceleration, it actually helps to kind of like disguise it rather than taking a big long swing, which is obviously difficult to time. You can just literally short motion and explode into it.
Next exercise, 8 minutes each, not going exercise. We're going to do Japanese footwork, my favourite. Most of you probably know what it is, but I'm going to do a quick demo with Toby. 2 backhands twice, 2 backhands far, 2 forehands far, 2 forehands.
But just pay attention here to Toby's footwork, especially the side-to-side movement. I think it's excellent. Really on his toes, gets himself in position early and then plays the stroke. He's not actually playing the shot as he's moving. So here Toby's spotted one of my usual faults that I've mentioned about a million times before, is that I'm just dropping the bat down and then lifting it up rather than going straight through it. It's something that I always say, that I just always have this tendency just to try and lift the ball, even though in a topspin rally I don't need to. I think here that I've made a slight adjustment and it's starting to look a lot better. I think that as this exercise progresses, that you'll notice that I gradually get more and more confident, try to be just a little bit more aggressive all the time. I think the one thing that I definitely notice is that when I change from the forehand away from the table to the forehand towards the table, is that I just get a little bit too close, a little bit too stuck. I think that again I'm almost moving forward before I play the shot. Still looking pretty good though, pretty happy with it. So you see here that I get a little bit frustrated, and it's something that I struggle with quite a lot, but I point out to Sam, is that transitioning from the wide forehand across the wide backhand, it's always a real weakness. Sam was saying that he noticed that as I follow through on the forehand, I just leave my hand there rather than getting back into a ready position, which would then allow me to play either a forehand or a backhand. So the remainder of the exercise I just really focused on from the forehand to the backhand, getting into the ready position quite neutrally and then being ready to play a backhand. So this was quite a nice little exercise actually. It was good practice at decent quality, low, short backspin serve. Good practice at hitting the pocket on the open up, rather than just trying to go wide. The real focus was actually hitting the pocket. And as you can see here, I've got a pretty decent level practice partner. So once I'd done the open up and he blocked, it was pretty much a free point. So it gave us an opportunity to practice countering. So this is quite an interesting point, and it looks on the face of it like it was actually quite well played by me. But if you watch it back slowly, you'll see that I'm too passive in the middle of the rally. So this point now, there was no need for me to be that passive and block it back. I should have just attacked that ball. This is something that I really need to work on.
Right, we're going to be working on forehand flick. So everyone working together for a few minutes, then we'll go back into the groups. So we'll do a couple of demonstrations from this side, so you can see the action. Then we'll get the forehand flick from that side, so you can see the feet and how the body's the lower end of the body's moving. Yeah. Any coach that tells you there's one way of doing something shouldn't be a coach. There's many different ways around doing things. Sam?
For me, with a forehand flick, there are, again, as Ed says, quite a few different ways of doing it. But I think there's a couple of generic things that are probably quite across the board. One thing is you don't want to be too tucked in here, so you want to make sure that you have enough room out with your elbow. So I think this is step number one for me, and that comes from not stepping behind the ball. So if I'm going for a forehand flick here, you don't want to step in with your right foot in line with the ball. Then it gets very difficult to play out of here. You want to step into the left of the ball. So if the ball is, let's say, here, I want my right foot to be around where the white line is. But then be able to play up here. I know Ed is also a fan of this, but I'm also a fan of having a little bit of rotation through the ball and hitting the ball nice and flat. Because if you don't get much rotation, you can start to push the ball by accident, and you can't really get so much power from pushing. If you look up any top player forehand flick motion, a lot of them, there's pictures of them finishing here because they're over rotating so much to get enough power through the ball. I'm also of the opinion you want to hit it quite flat, because it's not like the backhand where we have a lot of wrist movement to use. You don't have so much wrist movement to use, so you don't want to just roll it, make it too easy for your opponent. You want to be hitting through the back of there a little bit more, hitting it a little bit more flat. I think hand speed is also very important on forehand flip. If your hand speed is slow, then if there's a bit of backspin inside the ball, then it's going to take on the rubber and go down the direction. So your hand speed has to be fast enough to overtake the backspin that's on the ball. That makes sense.
The stroke length as well, as short as possible because you want recovery. Okay. Can you see the end position, everyone? Yeah? Just have a look at the end position and tell me if it changes and if it's pretty constant. Good. Yeah. So can you see the wrist movement he's adding, yeah? A little bit of wrist movement. Gives him good speed.
And have a look, guys, he is still using a little bit of his elbow, because the elbow is a very fast twitch. It's a very fast twitch. Joint, there we go.
Yeah.
It's a very fast joint, so he can snap up very quickly.
So the addition of this shot into my game has made a huge difference. It was always something I wasn't very good at and something that I didn't really think I needed in the game. Here I'm demonstrating to Lee that what I would always do if somebody's so short to my forehand, I would try and step in and then try and do like a heavy dig. But the problem would be that if there wasn't much backspin on the ball, I would pop it up in the air, and it was a real problem. And it's still a slight weak point in my game, something I've definitely got to get better at, but it just gives you so many options because it's an area that a lot of people do serve to because of the fact that it's not easy to return a ball from there. So this was a really good exercise. And as you can see here as well, that flicking into somebody's middle rather than trying to flick across court, which is the natural thing to do, somebody's so short to your forehand. They're not necessarily expecting it, and you can get a weak return. So here's another shot that I often feel needs revisiting on quite a lot of occasions, and it's a shot that again is becoming more and more important as my level improves, that just stepping in and pushing isn't often good enough. You need to try and flick the ball, put the opponent under pressure. I think one of the things that Lee notices here is that as I'm stepping in, I'm kind of like leaving my left foot planted. So I step in quite well with my right foot, but my left foot doesn't really move. So I really need to put emphasis on moving both feet and getting into position. The other thing that I quite often notice when I play this shot as well is that I'm very often kind of moving as I play it. So I think it's really important on this shot that you step in, get yourself in position, and then play the shot. If you imagine like Fan Lendong, he really like gets himself in position early, like moves, stops, plays the shot, gets back out again. I'm a little bit too slow to make the decision to flick, and then I'm stepping in and I'm moving as I play the shot. So yeah, it's just something that I need to constantly work on. Okay guys, so that's day one done. Absolutely exhausted. Really good day though. I love it when they, you know, the days are quite intensive and they work you hard, because it's, you know, you really feel like you're getting your money's worth out of it, even if your knees are a little bit sore. But yeah, it was absolutely fantastic. Crammed a lot of really good stuff into it. There was there's some excellent parts of the day really. I think some of the main, some of the key learning points that I took away from today was when I was knocking with Toby Ellis in the sparring session that we had. One of the things that he was saying to me was that with my forehand, the transition from the backhand to the forehand, I was kind of spinning the forehand up a little bit too much, and obviously it was a topspin to topspin rally, and yet I'm still sort of lifting the ball and spinning it up. I should really be sort of like, you know, driving straight through it. So this is something, again, I mean, I've talked about this so many times, and it's just obviously a bit of a habit that I have. I let the bat drop. I mean, especially in the exercise that we did where I had to play 2 forehands away from the table and then had to take a step in and play two forehands close to the table. The dropping of the bat was causing a major issue. So when I actually made an effort to keep the bat higher, I was able to play the shot a lot more crisply, and it was a lot sharper. So again, it's just a bit of a reminder that I've got to constantly be thinking about the fundamentals of my shot. So like, I always think that my forehand is pretty good and pretty solid, but there's still fundamental errors that I'm making. So it's, yeah, it's just something I think I just need to, from time to time, just go back to absolute basics and just practice, you know, some of the main fundamentals, which are obviously, you know, lifting the ball on backspin, but keeping the bat high, driving through, using my body, and having a sort of like a flatter, more powerful shot when I've got a topspin ball coming at me. So that was excellent. I think one of the main things that has really stuck in my mind as well was one of the exercises that I was doing, and I was talking to Sam Wilson, which was like earlier on in the day, and he was talking about my hand speed. So playing a forehand and a backhand, but in particular the forehand side. So he said try to think about, you know, using, like, you know, your wrist and your forearm as well as the rest of your arm and your body. And I thought that was a really good point, because as soon as I started to think about that and start to, you know, whip the end of my arm rather than, you know, trying to use my elbow and my sort of shoulder and my body, it really helped me kind of visualize the correct way to play the shot. And it's also really relevant to the backhand side as well. So we were discussing about not having too long a swing on my backhand, keeping it short, nice and tight, and really accelerating fast through it. So the faster hand speed is crucial for that. So that was excellent. We did some really good stuff on forehand flick, backhand flick, forehand touch. So yeah, it was a fantastic day all in all. We'll see what Wednesday has in store for us.
Anything that you're currently working on, want to work on, like I always say, talk to the coaches, but we'll also guide you as well. So we'll help you as much as we can, try and find any little issues and try to fix them or enhance some of the things that we think are good. You'll be on rotation with all the coaches, so every single player in the room today will work with every single coach, okay, which I think is important, so you've got lots of different views on things as well.
This was a nice little exercise. One of the nice parts about this day was that it was a little bit more bespoke, so the coaches were asking us what we wanted to work on, and then we sort of like design a drill around that. And obviously the one thing I always want to work on is sort of trying to get away from constantly lifting the ball. So this was focusing on the transition from the lifting action of the open up to the driving action against the topspin ball. And one thing that Toby notices as the drill sort of progressed early on was that when I transitioned from the wide forehand back across to the backhand, that I was just a little bit slow, and it's something that Sam picked up on the first day, that I almost hold my follow through and I almost watch the ball thinking that that shot's going to be a winner, when again as the level gets better, I've got to be able to transition back quickly. The one thing that I was really happy about this drill as well was that as it went on, I got more and more confident with the backhand open up, and one of the things that I really like actually is like the elbow position, so I kind of like just lift my elbow up a little bit, so it's almost like a higher hinge point, and when I did that it was a lot more consistent. Here one of my questions was that if I go from the wide forehand, like I think I was actually sort of looking for another forehand, even though I'm kind of like stood in the middle of the table. Very difficult to be able to play a second forehand, so it's almost that once I've played that wide forehand I need to get back and be ready to play a backhand, because I'm going to be covering most of the table with the backhand, seeing as I'm just going to be stood in the middle of it. So I'm taking every opportunity possible to work on my backhand, and with Ed Lynn we're just kind of like discussing the issues that I have in terms of my timing. So with my forehand I'm quite good at waiting for the ball and timing it quite well. With my backhand I definitely sort of like I'm just a little bit too eager at times, especially if I'm under pressure in a match. The ball's coming at me a little bit slowly. I just sort of like reach for the ball, I don't let it come through properly, and the timing's just a little bit all over the place. I'm also explaining here that probably the biggest issue that I have in my backhand in a backhand to backhand exchange is that I lift the ball off the table. So here he's actually grabbing my arm and trying to give me the feeling of going straight through it aggressively, not going through at sort of 50 or 60% pace, like really trying to accelerate, but accelerate in a straight line. So here Ed is really trying to emphasise that I just need to use like a little bit of hip and a little bit of body rotation and playing the shot. So rather than just purely swinging my arm at it, I'm sort of like stepping in a little bit with my right foot and then just using the rotation of my body to add some power. devised this exercise after we played a few games at the end of the first day, and Lee's got normal rub on his forehand, he's got long pimple on his backhand, so he does like to chop. He can attack, but he does mainly chop with the backhand side. And he just noticed that I was struggling to read spin. One of my tendencies is that I almost overread the amount of backspin that's on a ball when I'm playing against a more defensive type player. So again, I'm just forever lifting everything, thinking that it's got heavy backspin. So we're working on here to try and sort of drive through the ball a little bit more when it's a float ball. It's not easy to do this actually. You can see there that he actually caught me out by the amount of swing that he's taking. And again, it's not easy to read really when you're playing against long pimple players, especially when you get to players that can mix between heavy backspin and more floaty ball. And you can see here, even though I know what's going on, I'm still a little bit inconsistent. It's so difficult when you see somebody making a chop motion to not lift the ball. You just automatically you think that the ball's going to go into the net. So yeah, we're just working on trying to keep the bat up and just drive through it as if it's a normal ball, not reading backspin into it. He's also mentioning here that I just need a slightly longer follow through, just to increase the commitment to the shot. You'll notice almost straight away the consistency and the power of the shot just improves. So this is looking at a different aspect. This is looking at sort of smashing through a high but heavy spinning ball. So whereas the previous exercise was looking at dealing with a float ball, this is going to be looking at a heavier spinning ball, one that's much higher. Not easy to deal with at all. The tendency that I have is to almost re-loop this. So it's almost like the opportunity presents itself to hit a smash winner and finish the points, and I just kind of re-loop it, which then allows the defender just to be able to re-chop again. As you can see, it's not easy at all. Lee's really kind of like emphasising that you've got to really power through that, because the ball just wants to go straight down into the net. Even though it's very, very high, it will want to go straight down. So Luke Truman, who you can see here is actually picking the balls up, he actually says to me a really good piece of advice, which is to try and feel like you're going to knock it long off the end of the table. And you can see there that I say to him that actually works. So it's quite a good feeling really. It's not easy to make yourself do that, because obviously you want to try and hit it onto the table, but as soon as I started to feel like I was trying to hit the ball long, the consistency and the actual quality of the shot improved straight away. So quick break for lunch on the second day of the training camp. It's been a really good day. A completely different format to the first day. First day was obviously a lot more kind of structured drills. It was a lot more intensive. There was a lot more kind of like a lot more physical activity. And like I say, it was a lot more like moving about, a lot of footwork, a lot more physically demanding. So today it's been a really good one actually. Something that I think I've needed. It's been much more like looking at the technical aspects of the strokes. So there's been a lot more discussions as to how to play different shots, which I really like actually. I really like delving into the technique, how little small changes in your technique can totally change the way that the shot's played. So it's been some really good stuff. Been a lot of kind of like multi-ball. In fact, it's been pretty much all multi-ball actually so far. So but like I said, not too intensive. Sometimes multi-ball sessions they're so quick, so fast that you don't really have any time to think about how you're actually playing the shot, whereas we're doing like, we'd hit a few shots, then we'll discuss how we're playing the shot, then we'll do a few more. We actually had Ed, you know, actually physically like holding my hand and getting me to hit some backhands, and it was a totally different feeling. I would normally try and kind of lift the ball, but instead I was driving through it more. So it's been really, really good so far. I'm going to go and treat myself to Subway for my lunch, and then we'll see how we go this afternoon. So Mustapha immediately picks up in this exercise, again the same points that have been raised numerous times now, dropping the bat, lifting it up, so just, you know, lifting the ball constantly, which is great against backspin, but not so good against topspin ball. He also wants me to keep my elbow a little bit higher, keep the bat a bit higher for the backhand stroke, and then drive my arm straight through it. He's also emphasising here the transition from the forehand to the backhand. Don't let the bat drop, so keep the bat nice and high, keep it in a neutral ready position so that I'm ready to play the shot, and then to go straight through the ball. It's just demonstrating here again that like, it's a bit of a kind of feeble follow through. He's almost like wanting me to straighten my arm through it, so again this will, I think, help to stop me lifting the ball up and also increase the power. So this was quite a nice little reinforcement exercise as the day sort of slowly winding down. Just working on good quality backspin serve and then a heavy spin up. It's something that I'm already quite good at, and it's a shot that I use on quite a frequent basis. But again, with everything that you do, you can improve the quality. So just really working on taking the pace off it a little bit and putting some really heavy spin. And as you can see here, the lady that I'm working with, she's a very good player, but she was actually struggling quite a lot to block the spin. So I'm just picking Sam's brains here about the follow-through position of the forehand. He'd mentioned to me on the first day about increasing my hand speed, and I felt that that was really improving the quality of my shot, but I felt like I was actually shortening the follow through quite a lot by trying to really snap it through. He was saying that that was okay though, because he's got a set follow through position, as you can see here, which is relatively short and right in front of him. He was sort of saying that if he does that, he feels that the quality of the shot is high, and that if he starts like trying to extend it too much like this, then the overall quality just goes down a little bit. So he was saying it was not something that I really need to worry about too much. I probably could extend the follow through just a little bit more, but the danger then is that you're not into a neutral ready position, and that if the ball quickly comes to your backhand or back to your forehand again, then you're not ready for it.
Hello, my name's Lee. I was one of the guest coaches on the recent summer camp at Birmingham Academy. I have to say, I always enjoy seeing Neil. I've been at several camps in the past where he's attended. I always like working with him because he brings a lot of passion for table tennis into the playing hall every time he comes, and he really wants to improve. So for Neil in particular, during the camp, I worked with him a bit on his shot selection, a lot versus chopping and defence, because he's actually already quite strong at spinning up against backspin. But then when he faces float or topspin, he tends to still play upwards strokes a bit too often instead of coming over the top of the ball or through the ball more. So essentially we worked on closing his bat angles down and putting his weight through the ball more when against sort of different variations of spins or less spin. So keep going, Neil. Always good to see you. Keep up the great practice and all the good videos that you're doing. Keep up the good work.
Okay guys, so that's it, we're all done. 2 excellent days there. I'd say I've definitely got my money's worth. I'm absolutely exhausted. My right knee's aching like mad, which is a good sign. It does show that I've worked really hard. Yeah, it's been absolutely fantastic. As I was saying earlier on, 2 very different days. A lot more sort of drill orientated on the first day, and today's been a lot more focus on multi-ball. So it was just what I needed. It was exactly the sort of thing that that I wanted to look at. Like I say, look, very technically focused. Lots of discussion about technique, about I mean, I obviously wanted to try and do a decent amount of work on my backhand today, and I did that. It'll take a little bit of time, I think, to process everything, because there's been lots and lots of different ideas from different coaches. I would say that I think one of the main things that was really interesting, I mean, of course, the main thing that I tend to struggle with on the backhand side in particular is backhand to backhand exchange, lifting the ball off the table. I would say that I'm definitely getting better at that. One of the exercises that I did this morning was with Toby Ellis, and we worked on backhand open up and then immediately going into the backhand to backhand exchange. So you've got to change from dropping your back down, lifting it up, to then driving forward. And that was really good actually. Did some really good stuff. I was quite happy as well. I was trying to focus on getting my elbow kind of nice and high, so almost like a longer flick kind of technique, but that was quite nice, quite consistent, and getting a decent amount of speed on it as well. I would say that one of the things that Mustapha was saying, obviously Mustapha's like unbelievable, and there was a few games at the end where I just couldn't get anywhere near him. He's such an aggressive type player. But it was interesting because he was sort of saying to me to make me spin the ball but be aggressive, but also keep it on the table, was trying to spin it into the net. And I thought that was a really interesting concept, because if it's a top spin ball and I'm trying to add spin, I'm just forever lifting it long, and I get really frustrated with that. So he just kept saying, like, spin it in the net, spin it in the net, and I think that's the sort of thing that's like a mantra that I've got to have going forward. So yeah, that was excellent. There was some stuff that Ed where he was actually, he actually had hold of me and was kind of giving me the motion on the backhand. And I think the general thing is to just try and increase the aggression and the speed of my backhand. Like I say, it has definitely improved and it's okay, but compared to what they were asking me to do today, it's not even kind of like close to where it needs to be. There was some really good stuff on my forehand. Again, the main takeaway is that I'm still sort of slipping into letting the bat drop at times. So once I'm in a rally, and certainly if I'm moving about side to side, the bat is dropping down. So yeah, so that definitely needs some work. There's been some excellent stuff though. One of the things that I really liked from the first day was this idea of doing like a dead flick, which is something that I've been doing a little bit in the training with Phil Bowen, where we talk about doing it. It's not a push, and it's not like a proper outright flick. It's where you kind of like guiding the ball back, but you're guiding it back with as little amount of spin as possible, and that's so effective. Especially if you try and do that if they're right-handed, doing it into their backhand side, because they get a little bit stuck there. And I was playing Luke Truman before, and Luke's left-handed, and I was doing that serve wide to his forehand, and again he was really struggling with that. To move and then to try and lift that ball back up again when there's nothing on it is a really effective shot. So there's been loads and loads of good stuff actually all day today. Obviously we did a few sort of drills this afternoon, and then we just played a few games to finish everything off. So yeah, it's been a fantastic camp. I want to say big thanks to Ed Lynn for organising the camp, to the coaches, to Lee McHugh, Sam Wilson, Mustapha, and Toby as well. I've got some fantastic stuff from all of them, so really appreciate that, guys. It's not easy putting something like this together on a very limited budget, but I mean the facilities here at Nishkam High School, where Ed has his academy, it's absolutely fantastic. It's one of the reasons I love coming down here. I love playing in tournaments when they have them. Great venue, as you can see from all the footage. Actually, visibility is superb, loads of room, fantastic. So get yourself down to one of these camps. He normally has them every few months, tend to run in and around school holidays, but I'd highly recommend them. And the group of coaches that he has coming down, he's also had Chris Duran a few times before. Chris wasn't here this time, but Chris is top 5 in England, so he's been down a few times. So yeah, I'd definitely recommend, if you get the opportunity, come down. So that's the end of that. So I hope you've enjoyed the video. Hope that you've learned a lot. I mean, I certainly have, and that's one of the main reasons why I like doing these vlogs, is to not only show you my progress and the things that I'm working on to improve, but hopefully there'll be bits and pieces and tips that you'll be able to pick up that will help your game as well. So I hope it's encouraging you guys to play, and helping you guys improve as well. So that's that, and I'll see you again soon.